Hello, dear students. Today we are going to start with the very first poem of your book Hornbill, that is, A Photograph by Shirley Towson. Let's read about the poet first. Shirley Towson was born on 20th May 1924 in England. She was passionate about creative writing and she was greatly influenced by her father, who was a writer too. She pursued her BA in literature and later on she took up writing as her career. Her major works are Shadows in an Orchid, Scorpion Press, Keepsake Press, For a Double Time, The Celtic Alternative. So, why do you think people click photographs and preserve them forever? Because photographs capture the precious moments of life. They connect us to the past. They leave an indelible imprint on our minds, and they make the memories of a dead person come alive. In this poem also, the poet recalls her mother, who is actually no more in this world. The poet recalls her mother and her memories while looking at a childhood photograph of hers. So the poem is a nostalgic ride. Nostalgic means when someone fondly remembers the past memories. So the poem is a nostalgic ride that talks about three different time zones. There are three different time zones. The first one is the distant past. That is the poet's mother's childhood. The second one is the recent past, when the poet and her mother were discussing the photograph. And the third one is the present time, when the poet is looking at the photograph and is thinking about all this time that has passed. Let's talk about the key themes of the poem. The poem shows how time takes its toll, how time changes everything. Time and tide wait for none. You must have heard this proverb. Then, change is the harsh and bitter reality. Sometimes it is very difficult to accept the changes in life. Then death. Death is the inevitable end of all. Inevitable means something which is unavoidable, something which you have to face at any cost. So when death comes, human beings have to accept the loneliness, the empty space it creates. Then finally, nature is everlasting. Nature is permanent, but human life is short-lived. Human life is temporary. It has to perish once. It has to perish one day. Then the title of the poem, the title is very much appropriate because it reminds the poet of her mother through an old photograph. The person might change with the passage of time, but the memories attached with the photograph are always there, are always permanent. The poet's mother is no more, but the photograph makes her memories come alive. So, the title of the poem is quite suitable. Let's understand the poem through some of the key sentences. The poet looks at the cardboard on which there is a childhood photograph of her mother. So, in earlier times, people used to preserve their photographs by pasting them on a cardboard. She had gone for a sea holiday. She here refers to the poet's mother. So the poet's mother had gone for a sea holiday with her two cousins, Betty and Dolly. While they were paddling, their uncle took a photograph of them. Both the cousins were holding the hands of her mother, who was the eldest among the girls. This was long before the poet was born. Actually, this photograph was taken before the poet was born. So time fled past since, and all those who are in the photograph underwent changes, while the sea remained the same. Her mother would look at the photograph after 20 to 30 years and laugh nostalgically. So the poet's mother used to laugh at the photograph when she was alive. When the poet's mother was alive, she used to look at her photograph after 20 to 30 years. That photograph was clicked and she used to laugh nostalgically. Now, for the poet, her mother's laughter and her sea holiday is a thing of the past. As her mother is no more in this world, so now what is left with her? Only her mother's laughter and her sea holiday. Her mother died about 12 years ago. The silence of the photograph silences the poet. She experiences great loss. The silence of the death of her mother has left her speechless. And now she is experiencing a great loss. She is suffering from an endless pain due to her mother's death. Let's see the poem in detail. First stanza, and this comes under the childhood phase. You must remember in the previous slides I have shown you the 3 different time zones. So this is also the similar case. You can also say that the poem is divided into 3 different phases. The first one is the childhood phase, the second one is the middle phase, and the third one is the death phase. It's the same thing, the distant past, the recent past, and the present. The cardboard shows me how it was when the 2 girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So the cardboard shows me how it was. The cardboard on which the picture is pasted, the picture of her mother's childhood is pasted, shows her how it was. So the poet is looking through a photo album, and she is looking at one picture particularly in which there are 3 girls. In the middle, there is the poet's mother, and she is the oldest and the tallest amongst the 3. And the 2 other girls are her mother's cousins, who are younger and shorter than her. So the poet here makes a guess that her mother must have been around 12 years old at that time when the picture was taken, and each of the cousins is holding on to the poet's mother's hand for support, and the picture has been taken on a day that the 3 girls had gone paddling at the beach. So here the poet's mother's childhood has been described. That picture has been described. All 3 stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Now, why I have highlighted this line in yellow color? Because this is one of the most important lines of the poem. You can get any kind of a question based on this line. So please listen to it very carefully. Now the poet further tells the conditions in which the photograph of her mother and the cousins was taken. So mother's uncle was taking the photograph, and he had asked the 3 girls to pose for him, and so they were posing. So through their hair covering their mouths, they were smiling into the camera. All 3 stood still to smile through their hair. Then, however, one face in the picture that draws the poet's attention to a greater extent is her mother's face. And she comments that the face of her mother was a sweet one. Her mother had a very sweet face. The poet also describes that the photograph was taken long before her own birth, long before she was born. And since then, her mother's face had changed a lot. There were a lot of changes in her mother since that photograph was taken. Now, the poet here contrasts the eternity of the sea with the mortality of the human beings. The poet here tries to compare the permanence of the sea, the permanence of the nature, with the transient nature of human beings, with the transience of human life. The poet means to say that the human life is temporary, but the nature is everlasting. So sea comes under the category of nature, so the nature is everlasting. The sea in the photograph has not changed. The sea in the photograph has not changed as compared to those feet which it washed when the photograph was taken. So here feet does not mean actual feet only. Here feet means the whole human life, the whole human body. So their feet kept on changing Their body changed. Their life changed. But the sea did not change. The poet's mother has died. Now the poet's mother has died. But the sea is still the same. The nature is everlasting, but the human life is transient, temporary. It is short-lived. Next starts the middle phase. Here, some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. So now the poet recalls how her mother used to talk about the photograph when her mother was alive, how she used to talk about the same photograph with the poet. It is the matter of the recent past, the second time zone. So the poet isn't sure whether it was 20 years after the photograph was taken or 30 years after it, but she remembers exactly her mother telling her to look at how the cousins Betty and Dolly looked at that time, looked at that young age, and how their parents had dressed them up for a visit to the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both wry with the labored ease of loss. Again, I have highlighted the line in the yellow color. That means it is one of the most important lines. So the sea holiday was her past. Her here refers to the poet's mother. And mine is her laughter. Mine is the poet herself here. She's saying that for her mother, the past was sea holiday, and for her is her mother's laughter, because her mother is no more in this world. So the poet says that her mother used to consider the photograph as a memory of the past that she had left behind. On the other hand, the poet herself considered the memory of her mother laughing as a thing of the past. So in both the cases, the memories of the past made the two women feel disappointed as they tried hard to accept what they had lost. Both wry with the labored ease of loss. Both were struggling hard to cope up the loss. Both were trying hard to accept what they had lost. Labored ease. Labored means something that is difficult. And all these things were done so easily, plus they were so painful. The mother could not relive her past memories, could not relive her childhood days, and whereas the poet cannot bring her mother back. So both the past things are disappointing for both the women. When her mother was alive, her childhood memories, the loss of the childhood days was a thing of the past for the mother. And now for the poet, her mother's death. And now the poet is actually expressing her sorrow, her grief over the mother's death. She is disappointed because she is trying to accept the loss. She is struggling to accept this loss. Her mother was also struggling to accept the loss of her childhood and happy days. Last stanza. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. Its silence silences. This line is very important. Its silence silences. So now the poet says that her mother has been dead for the past 12 years, as many years as that girl lived. For the past 12 years, that is the same number of years that was the age of her mother in the photograph. The poet is able to think of her mother's death, but she has no words. She has no words to express how sad she is feeling at her mother's death. How deeply this separation has affected her, how deeply her death has affected her. The fact that the death has silenced her mother has also left her speechless. Its silence silences. The silence of the death of her mother has also made the poet speechless. She also does not have anything to say. She has all the grief in her heart. She has to accept this loss, and she is accepting this loss with a heavy heart. Labored ease. All of these things went very, very easily, but the pain is really hard. The pain is really difficult to bear. Let's see the poetic devices in the poem. Poetic devices are also called figures of speech. The first one is the cardboard shows me. It is personification. The cardboard. The cardboard shows. These three words are personification. How? Now the cardboard is a non-living thing, and the cardboard cannot show anything. This quality of human being has been given to the cardboard. The cardboard has been personified here. So this is personification. The cardboard shows. Then the next one is all three stood still to smile. Stood still to smile. See, the sound S has been repeated at the first place. S, S and S. So that is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of the first sound in closely connected words. The next one is very important. Washed their terribly transient feet. See this phrase only, terribly transient feet. First of all, terribly transient is an alliteration. T and T has been repeated, the first sound. Then next, it is a transferred epithet. Transferred epithet you have already done in your class 10th. Transferred epithet is when the quality of a human being is transferred to a non-living thing. So the feet, here the quality of the human being has been transferred to the feet. Terribly transient feet. Here the feet are not transient. Feet are not temporary. The whole human body, the whole human life is temporary. So the quality has been transferred, has been given to the feet. So that is why it is transferred epithet. Then it is synecdoche. Synecdoche is a new device for you, which means a part represents the whole and whole represents the part. For example, new wheels refers to a new car. We use the word wheels for the car because wheels is a part of car. So part is representing the whole car. Ask for her hand refers to asking a woman to marry. So here hand refers to the complete woman. So hand is the part and woman is the whole. So a part representing the whole. So terribly transient feet is also feet. Here feet are representing the whole human body, whole human life. So feet is just a little part of the whole body. So part is representing the whole. Got it? So now next one. Labored ease, again very important. Now labored means I told you something which is very difficult, very hard. So ease means something which is easy. So both are opposite words. So when opposite words are put together, when they make a contradictory phrase, that is an oxymoron. Oxymoron is always two opposite words put together. Now the last one is silence, silences. Now how can silence be silent? Like silence is an abstract concept. So otherwise being silent is the quality of human beings, living things. So that quality has been transferred to the word silence. That is why it is personification. The word silence has been personified. The word silence has been given the quality of a human being. Finally, the tone of the poem. So there are a lot of changes in the tone in the poem. At first, the tone is both nostalgic. Nostalgic, I told you, remembering your past memories fondly, lovingly. So tone, at the initial stage, the tone is nostalgic and joyful when the poet looks at an old photograph of her mother. Then that nostalgia continues. Fine, when her mother would often look at the photograph and she tried to remember about the day when it was taken. Then finally, in the last paragraphs, in the last stanzas, a tone of sadness comes in. A tone of sadness enters when the poet compares the unchanging sea with the brevity of human life, with the transience of human life. And at the very end of the poem, she becomes silent. The poet becomes silent. There is all silence, as she cannot express in words how sad her mother's death has made her. So, thank you, students. Now you have to read the poem thoroughly, and you have to try to find out the answers to the questions given at the end of the poem. Thank you.